Has anyone ever wondered what people would do if they could spend your money without facing any repercussions whatsoever? Well, that's exactly what our government does. They spend our taxpayer dollars about as wisely as an alcoholic in a booze store. I have a question for all of y'all out there. How come I have to pay off my credit card, but our government doesn't even have to tell me what they're spending my money on? And when they get caught spending their money in bad places and bad ways, instead of using a get out of jail free card, they just pay each other off. Our government officials take us all, quite frankly, for idiots. Because right now, they are trying to distract us with that Trump was supposed to supposedly be arrested, when in reality, no one's, quite frankly, paying attention to the fact that our banking system is completely falling apart, and the fact that this money is just about as valuable as this money, which is nothing. I think we can all agree, both parties or whatever you guys identify as, that our government isn't particularly good at doing anything. But if they are good at one thing, that would be spending our money. Since the 1960s, our Congress has raised the debt ceiling 78 times. I don't know about you, but a ceiling is supposed to be something sturdy that's not really going to go anywhere, but Congress has a tendency to redefine things when it works out better for their spending habits. So for them, it's more of a translucent, it's sort of there, but not really, and they can do pretty much whatever they want. Do you know what's something that's actually worth, screaming and bawling on the sidewalk for? And no, it's not because a person that you didn't like won the presidency. Let me introduce you to my little friend. And that is the U.S. Budget official website, which tells you exactly how much money that they're spending that belongs to us. Our country alone is about, let me just count this, hundreds, thousands, millions, billions. Oh yeah, $31 trillion in debt. And that's your money. That is coming right out of y'all's pockets. But let's just go over this for a minute. $94,000, 556 per citizen. And this is coming from the people in DC that tell us how they are going to spend our money quite stupidly. I feel like this should be something that we pay attention to a little bit more and maybe not worry so much about whether your pronouns are being respected by someone that you've never even met or seen before in your life. I only came into existence 19 years ago, and that wasn't even my own choice. I did not sign up to be on the hook for anywhere between $95,000 and $250,000 of debt to be paid off. I don't even make that much annually. I'm not really sure how our government particularly plans to pay that off. Oh, wait, that's right. They don't plan on paying it off because they spend literal trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars every single freaking year on stupid stuff. But will they tell you what those things are? No, absolutely not, because that would actually require them to know what they're spending it on and actually don't want to tell us, because they're politicians, and if they do anything very well, it's lie and keep secrets from the people who supposedly hired them to represent them in the first place. Let me just tell you this. If our country was run by more businessmen and women like, Donald Trump, we could probably get this at least more manageable and somewhat under control. But you put a bunch of bartenders and sex workers in politics, and all they're really gonna do is try to get wealthy for themselves. Not exactly do anything to help you guys. You think they care about you? Newsflash, the only thing they care about that you can provide is your money. If you really want to know what our government is spending all of our money on, let's just go through it a little bit, shall we? Let's go down the rabbit hole of where all of our money is going. Our government spent $192,000 on Starbucks espresso machines for all the political elites, because that's, of course, something that they need, right? They can't just be like normal people and go get their coffee at Starbucks like the rest of us, because we're the peasant people. Or the fact that they spent $28 million on camouflaged uniforms for Afghanistan, which, oh, y'all, get this, didn't even match the geographic area that they were supposed to go in the first place. Or also explain to me why we had to spend $1.7 billion to only maintain 77,000 empty federal buildings. because we, of course, couldn't just sell those and get rid of them and get them off our budget. We just have to keep them, obviously. I don't know about y'all, but I would sort of appreciate it if our government spent our money on, I don't know, bettering our community and our country and our lives, instead of spending $50 million on helping tourism in Tanzania, even though in 2019 their tourism generated over $1 billion. I really don't think that they particularly need our help. We also, for some reason, thought it would be an absolute dandy idea to spend $36 million on studies about why stress makes people's hair turn gray. And if there's one thing I've noticed our government particularly likes to do, it's give money to studies that for some reason seem to abuse and neglect animals. Everyone, or at least I hope everyone, has heard of Dr. Fauci being involved in a very horrendous scandal where they took 6-month-old beagle puppies and put their heads in fly cages where they would be attacked and eaten and infested by mosquitoes and flies. For what purpose, I couldn't tell you. But we also decided to spend $3 million in a northeastern university to watch hamsters fight on steroids, because that is just something that I absolutely needed the question answered to. Don't forget to follow, like, comment, subscribe, and you know what? Comment down below what you would spend trillions of dollars on if you had our annual salary for this country. I'm curious what y'all would do. And I know all these measly millions and billions seem like, just breadcrumbs in comparison to the $31 trillion in debt that we are already in. But here's some more stupid things that our government is spending your money on. $1.3 million to study about whether people will eat ground up bugs as a protein supplement. $1.47 million to persuade Eastern Mediterranean youths to stop smoking hookah, or $6.97 million of cancer research money to create smart toilets. What about $1.24 million to reduce the amount of time that adults spend watching TV? I don't exactly think that we need to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, particularly $118,971,000 grant awarded to researchers to figure out if Thanos could actually do the snap.
You should have gone for the head.
I don't know about y'all, but I didn't exactly watch that movie thinking that we need to do a study about it. It's a fictitious movie, the fictitious characters, a fictitious plot, and I don't know about y'all, but I'm competent enough to realize that Infinity Stones aren't real. Our politicians, on the other hand, seem to think otherwise. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest. I know I'm just a 19-year-old girl from Texas, but I'm competent enough to realize that you guys are spending money about as wisely as a 4-year-old in a candy store having a temper tantrum. I don't think these people deserve any of our money whatsoever, because at this point it just feels like they're messing with us and seeing how much of our money they can burn before we actually do something about it. Because the people who get to pick their own salaries probably shouldn't be in charge of our credit cards, especially if they're not going to pay off theirs but then expect us to every April. How about I stop paying taxes and they stop paying this stupid debt? Or I should say, I will start paying taxes once again once you guys stop spending my money like an idiot. Savannah, why does this matter? Well, I'll tell you this. Besides the fact that it's our money on the line here, that our government just seems to want to throw out whatever the heck they want to, our debt is vastly owned by the CCP. Now, if they wanted to, they could at any given point in time cash in on that. I don't know exactly how that will go, other than, World War III breaking out. And there are some things in play that are stopping that. But listen, I don't know if 2020 was obvious enough, but if something like the apocalypse, Civil War Part 2, or World War III breaks out, I'm not exactly sure how well Americans these days are able to handle that, especially considering that 80% of 19 to 29-year-olds aren't even capable of joining the military physically and mentally alone. I only came into existence 19 years ago, but somehow I'm going to get stuck with the bill of our $31 trillion debt, as does every other kid in my generation, because previous generations at least couldn't make the smart decision to stop spending, or at the very least, stop spending so much, or at least stop spending on all the stupid nonsense stuff that we absolutely positively do not need, like hamsters on steroids, or, Lord forbid, torturing beagle puppies. Explain to me why our government particularly needs that. Our politicians have literally no desire to stop spending all of our money because we have done absolutely positively nothing to give them any sort of repercussions for spending our money idiotically. I don't know about y'all, but I run a small business and I have to keep account for every single positively single cent and where it goes. If I had to do that for my business, how come our government doesn't have to do that when they have an annual budget of trillions upon trillions of dollars? I feel like, I'm just saying, they should be absolutely positively meticulous about making sure that every comma is where it's supposed to be and every dollar and cent sign is crossed with a T. But no, we've given them free reign of all of our pocketbooks, and look at where it got us. $31 trillion in debt and studies being done on smart toilets and hamsters on steroids. But y'all asked for this. Remember, April 15th is coming up, and you owe your government basically rent to exist in the world today. But will they tell you how much you owe? No, but then you're going to have to do the math yourself, and then you're going to pay them the money that you supposedly owe. But then you could possibly go to jail because you got the number wrong, but they actually don't know how much you owe, but they know that we have to pay them something, therefore they're going to get on to us for doing the math of their job even though they know that they're wrong? Maybe? Politics is the only game in the world where you could go to jail for something that they should have done themselves. Remember, people, taxation is theft.